Hey everybody, today we're making this beautiful coaster. We're going to make a set of them. It looks like a sunflower. We used color shifting mica powder. You can see it changing. The center and the sides and even the petals changing color from the purples to the greens, the red to the black, or to the copper in the very center. So if you want to see how we made this, it's super easy. Just an easy mold to get off of Amazon and some color shifting mica powder from Resin. So stick with us. We're going to make this together, and I want to thank you for joining us as we resin together. Hey everybody, so we are painting the inside of our sunflower molds with our Let's Resin Chameleon powders. Now the colors I've chosen today, I've already done 3 and we're going to finish this one together. For the inside, the center here, that is the Let's Resin Chameleon powder, the black cherry. You can kind of see that purple, or blue, or red, wow, red. And then for the leaves on the outside, it looks purple unless you catch it with the light. There you go. This is the dark green for the things, but it shifts to purple. It'd be an interesting color. And then for the leaves, I went with the gold, real pretty color there. So we painted these 3, so we're going to knock out this last one together. And so I'll speed it up as you go. One thing to keep in mind with this, especially this Chameleon Mica powder, it likes to clump. So what you'll probably see me do is I'll dip it, but it's going to come off too much. So I'll put some here, and spread it out before I start brushing it. That way it just spreads it out a little bit better, and we don't waste any as much doing it that way. So you'll see me do that. That's why I'm doing that. So I will get these painted, and then we will come back. Go, that finishes the gold. Now you'll see me as I go, I kind of swiggle it into the corners. You want to make sure you get it all the way back into those corners. If not, you'll have kind of dead sections. And then anywhere you get mica powder, don't worry about it unless it's really bad. Just give it a good puff of air. It should come out. If you still have some trouble or you really want it out, a Q-tip with some isopropyl alcohol will remove that real easy. But honestly, at the end of the day, unless it's really bad, I wouldn't worry about it. It should be fine. Alright, so let's switch to the dark green for the last of our leaves around the outside here. Now I got a little mound of it in one of the gold petals, so I'm going to try to give that a puff and get rid of it. If it sticks, I'll just get, like I said, a Q-tip and give that a clean. So the other thing to remember is the bottom surface that you're painting is what's going to show, because everything's going to be reversed. So if it's on the top of what you've done, it's no big deal. Honestly, that's part of the reason why, as I'm doing this, I do the big sections first and then the little sections, because it's less impactful once it, for the smaller ones or the colors. But at the end of the day, if they mix a little bit, the world's not going to end. It'll be okay. As I've seen and heard and told people so many times, minor imperfections in handmade products is what shows us that they're handmade. Now, obviously, if it's a disaster, then I wouldn't, I would redo it. And if you're not happy with it, redo it, because ultimately you have to be happy. But remember, we're our own worst critics, and we often see things as much worse than others would. So don't be too critical, and don't sweat the small stuff. All right, so that one's all done, and again, we've got that nicely colored in. So I'm gonna mix up some resin. I think for these, so that we get a good nice contrast, I'm gonna try putting black resin into it just to see how that's gonna look. So I'm going to get that mixed up, and we'll come back as soon as we're ready to pour. Okay, so we are back. We have our resin mixed up. Today we are using the premium resin from the epoxy resin store. I mixed up enough because I'm doing a couple projects at the same time, so I mixed up quite a bit of resin, but I'm going to use it pretty quickly. I would caution you to be careful because I've mixed up a pretty good cup. I would caution to be careful mixing up this much at once unless you know you're going to use it, because this right here is a flash cure waiting to happen. You know, this is way too much of this 2-to-1 thin resin. It's supposed to be only a 1/4 inch. So after probably about 10 or 15 minutes, this will start flash curing. So be very careful working with this. If you've not experienced a flash cure, it is not fun and it can be dangerous. I've had one of mine that started flash curing and it reached about 300 degrees. So, I mean, that's nothing to joke about. Could easily melt the container and give you a very bad burn. It also starts smoking, and the smoke and fumes that it gives off are not good to breathe. So be very careful with a flash cure. I know some people laugh about them and post videos about it because it's interesting, because you know, this much resin that would take 8 hours to cure will cure in 15 minutes, but it's also very dangerous. So please be careful or have a plan and know you're ready to use it before you mix up a large quantity of resin that's not made for thick pour. So we'll go ahead and pour our resin, get these filled up. And I'm just going to pour slowly to let some of the bubbles work themselves out. I'm actually going to stop there, let that fill up. It's a little bit chilly in the house today, so I've got air bubbles in my resin. So I'm kind of going to pour a little bit, let this run out, and then I'm going to, oops, a little too fast on that one. I'm going to pour a little bit, let it run out, let it get its layer, and give it a little shot with isopropyl alcohol just to pop some of the bubbles. Isopropyl alcohol works great for popping bubbles. I think, in my opinion, it actually works better than using a torch, or not using a torch, but using a heat gun. Now, in all honesty, using a torch is probably the best way. I don't think it's the heat as much as it's the pressure that it gives off, but the caution on a heat gun or torch that I'll say is, especially with the torch, the heat of it can easily melt your molds and make it so that they no longer work correctly, and they will stick to the resin and be ruined. So yes, the torch works the best, but if you're not very careful and very fast, then you will definitely mess up your molds and they will be ruined and you cannot use them again. So take that advice as you will. Just gonna give this a few seconds for the alcohol to evaporate off. You can kind of see, if you can get it in the light, there's like a film over the resin, that's the alcohol, and as it evaporates, the alcohol goes from having a matte kind of ripply layer on it to being perfectly glossy again. Once it's glossy, then you should be good to go to pour some more. You just don't want to trap the alcohol, so I do use the 95% isopropyl, but that means there's still 5% water, and water inside of resin will definitely affect your cure, so be very careful with that. All right, there we go. Okay, we will let these cure. Now, it'd probably take a day or so to get them fully cured and ready to go. And then when they're ready to unmold, we'll come back and I'll show you what our results are and how they look. So we'll talk to you then. Okay, so it's been a couple days and we're ready to see how our chameleon powder sunflowers turned out. So let's pull them out of the mold and see how they did. The bags definitely are a mix of the mica powder. You can see that coming through. It always floats a little bit when it comes up, so let's see how they turned out. I hope they turned out good. It'll be interesting to see how well it stands out on the black. I was worried that the black mica powder may cause it to lose some of its color. So we'll see. Yep, pull it out. Oh, see, don't you love it when we build suspense in these videos? Let's see. Ooh, wow. That turned out really good. Very bright. Now to me, in the video, on the camera, these leaves look green, but to me, looking at it here, it's very purple. Now if I pull it here, and I get it in the light, when in close to me, then it's definitely green, but from here, a couple feet away from me, I definitely see purple more than green. Let me see if I can, there we go. I think that, yeah, you can see the purple. Really pretty though, they turned out well, I think. Definitely very bright colors for the Chameleon powders. Let's take a look. The next one, same, yep. A little blemish, not sure what happened there. Looks like I have a scratch on my mold, so you can see right there, that's a scratch where it didn't quite get smooth, unfortunately. Oh well. Same. Very pretty. I think those turned out really pretty. A good shiny, glossy top there. Very nice. And last. There we go. Oh, those turned out really good. Definitely like how those colors come together. Looks great. So if you want to make a set of coasters, or however you want to use them at home, these sunflower molds that I've got from Amazon, along with the Let's Resin Chameleon powders, definitely make a pretty arrangement. Lots of options. Any color you want, you can make them how you want them, and I think they make a good thing, and painting them is super easy. So you try this at home, let us know how it goes in the comments. If you like the video, give us a like, let us know so we can keep making content like this. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because then you'll know about all the videos that come out. Most of all, I hope you enjoy building and making things with resin, and thanks for joining us as we resin together.